What's up, party people? Welcome to DFW Real Estate Weekly with Todd Tremonti, but it's not just Todd Tremonti. It's the full price Courtney.
Hello.
And the Yanni Donnie.
Bonjour.
The English wonder himself, speaking French today. Hey, we've got one for you, and it's boring topic. Stay tuned for a boring topic. Now, it's a boring topic that can be very exciting if you're one of the very few that thinks about it differently. And so the topic is seasonality in the residential real estate market. And what we mean by that, let's just get right to it, is that there is a statistical seasonality in the market, right? Every year, these are the things that happen if we average out market activity. It's also, touches on kind of the stereotypes, right? That most people would say, I'm going to buy and sell during these times, or this is the time of year you do a remodel, or this is the time of year you do, quote, spring cleaning, end quote, right? So there's just these things that tend to happen in patterns. And we're going to talk about those patterns, and we're going to talk about how you can benefit from them, or you can honestly be hurt and harmed, and there can be disadvantage if you ignore them or if you go along for the ride. And I believe this is true in almost every marketplace, whether it's real estate or residential real estate or not. It's important to understand what are the patterns, and then where are the opportunities within those patterns, or to operate outside of those patterns, not to feel pressured to follow the trend, to follow seasonality, or to be a part of the stereotype. Did we explain that clearly?
No, totally.
Okay.
No, totally.
So no is yes and totally is yes.
Yes.
You got it.
But one of the words was no.
No.
Okay.
Totally.
I'm glad we cleared that up. Okay. Let me just throw this out there and get your thoughts on this. Most people approach residential real estate the same. How would you say that most people approach residential real estate as far as like the calendar and seasonality and when and what they do?
They think spring.
They think spring.
No, totally.
Yeah, no, but totally.
I don't know.
It's a no, yes, sir.
I don't know how you shift that belief, that core real estate belief.
Here's the good news. I don't know that I want to.
Oh.
I turned my volume down internally on that. And what I mean is our clients don't follow sort of the mindless lemming, walk off the cliff with the rest of the goobers approach, because we're counseling and guiding them not to do that. And it's not that I want to harm anybody else, but everybody else has access to basically the same information, and they're choosing to just follow the norm, do what everybody else is doing, which is generally wait till spring and summer, move when school's out, or, get into the real estate mindset, whether it's repair, remodel, clean up, buy, sell, when the weather's nice, when it's warmer out, those kind of things.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that either, because we do tell people that the best time to do it is when it's right for you and your family and your finances. And for a whole lot of people out there, the spring and summer is the best time for the family to be able to do it.
But the nuance that I think is in what you're saying, that if I'm not a regular viewer listener, I might not have caught there, is you still need a strategy for that marketplace.
Sure.
What we're saying is you don't have to buy spring and summer because everybody else does. You don't have to buy fall and winter because that's when I like to do it. You ought to make that move when you and your family and your finances are ready. And that move might be buying or selling. It might be an addition. It might be a remodel or whatever. But you should do those things when they make sense for you. Now, there's a different way to do it at different times and different mortgage rates and different seasonality or different economic times or whatever the case is. So that's what we're saying. There is a strategy to help you be successful just about any time. Most people have a one-size-fits-all strategy, and that's what we're cautioning people about. And we'll tell you a bit more about that here in just 1 second.
Well, you said mortgage rates, Todd, and so I have to tell you about Patrick Gleros and his incredible team. You can reach out to Patrick whether you're needing mortgages, refinancing, you have questions about what is going to happen maybe this year, and you want to get some Patrick's thoughts. You can go to patrickgleros.com, Glaros, patrickgleros.com. You can call him at 972-386-1231, NMLS number 308804, or head over to toddtremonteteam.com, click on the podcast, and you will find all of the recommended pros and vendors we talk about.
That's right. Okay, speaking of Patrick, when you think about seasonality of the market, if everybody just follows the stereotypical spring summer approach, even when it comes to mortgage, there's more demand for mortgage, and there is some supply and demand driven pricing when it comes to mortgage. So this is a factor not of just availability or price, but of competition. Literally, there are times of the year you can't get a home inspector out to a property for 4 or 5 days, and there are times of the year that you could get one out within 4 or 5 hours. A lot of that has to do with just sort of stereotypical follow the crowd supply and demand. Everybody's doing this right now, so everybody's a little spread thin right now. So prices tend to go up and convenience goes down and freedom goes down and sometimes accuracy goes down. There's a lot to factor in. So, Ian, when we look at the data, when we look at the local market, right here in Dallas-Fort Worth, what is the actual seasonality?
Yeah, I mean, if I look at, I've pulled up the last 5 years worth of data month over month. And so what we see is January is generally the lowest month in terms of home sales. Mm-hmm. Then you get a little bit more in February. And then there's normally a fairly sizable bump. You know, if I look at this, it's a 2,000-ish bump-ish from January to February, and then it's like a 6,000 to 8,000 bump in March. And then they stay fairly steady. March and April is pretty similar. May, there's another little bump, and then it's pretty steady. May, June, July are kind of the same, and then there's the general decline. So if I just give like last year, for example, we peaked May, June, and July were all just under 35,000 homes sold.
Per month.
January was 22.
Yeah. So that's a really important data point, the last thing you said. For people that are like, oh, well, just that's when everybody does it. No, 22,000 transactions,
right?
Which could have been 44,000 people, right? A buy side and a sell side for each one. Not all of them have two. Some have more than two. But the point is, that's actually not that different from the peak at like 33,000, right? So yes, statistically, it's 50% more sold in the busiest months compared to the slowest months, but it's not 4 times, right?
Right.
The stereotype seems to believe that, man, everybody's doing everything in spring and summer and nobody's doing anything fall and winter. So what we're trying to help people understand is we are in the spring real estate market right now. Even though we just had an ice storm, even though it is, as we're recording this, it's February, we're on contracts are in March. Decisions made today are going to close and fund and transact, 30, 45 days out. So that's early to mid-March already. That is spring. So number one, we are in the spring months. Number two, this year looks better than the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. We're seeing more activity. So what we would say is normal seasonality, there's almost no such thing because all these years start getting averaged together and these months get averaged together. But as a buyer and a seller, you just don't want to blindly follow the crowd. You want to think strategically about how can I benefit? How can I outperform the crowd? How can I protect myself or my family or my finances a little bit more? How can I get a better deal? How can I get more flexibility? How can I earn a little more leverage in a negotiation? And we'll talk a little bit about that here in just 1 second. But it's important to know, based on the data that you just shared, Ian, mm-hmm. The highest point of the year, which is usually late spring or early summer, is 50% more than the lowest point of the year. It's not like we're in Upper Peninsula, Minnesota, where it just goes dead because there's 12 feet of snow on the ground, right? There's 22,000 homes per month transacting in January. There's 30-something in June. That's a big difference, but it's nowhere near the difference that it would be if we had this true dead season and peak season. So the opportunity there is to understand that, be led and guided and advocated for by somebody that understands that, and help you navigate the market when it is best for you and your family and your finances, which might have been in January. Now, if you are wanting to buy and sell during the peak months, how do you benefit from not just getting crushed by the level of competition, the seller's peak optimism? That takes some unique strategy. And by the way, that's what we do. We help people do that all the time. So somewhere near this video or this audio, there's going to be a link for you to contact us, find the website, or jump on somebody's schedule And I would recommend you do that because that's what we help people do is navigate the trends in the marketplace, create a unique strategy for you, your family, your finances, and win, even if you are, like Ian was saying, there's nothing wrong with buying in that peak stereotypical time. There would be something wrong with operating just like everybody else and just kind of being at the mercy of the market and not having any strategy. So our team can help you create a unified, a custom strategy for you. Click a link, find the website somewhere near this audio or video. We would be happy to lead and guide you through that if you're a fit for us and we're a fit for you. If not, we'd be happy to just share some great information for you and help you win, even though it's a bit of a cattle call and everybody's just kind of following that trend. So, Courtney, as the resident voice of the people,
skeptic.
Do you think people believe that's possible? Do you think people believe that you can operate outside of the trends and that there's any opportunity there?
I mean, I think it helps when you cast vision around it, when somebody like shows me what's possible. I think that I'm hopeful but connecting with you and hearing from our team and hearing about my specific situation is what really helps.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing you can't do on a podcast is like customize this for someone. So reach out to us and we'll be thrilled to do that. We love that. We believe our calling in life to use our God-given gifts to help people do that well. And it really stinks when we see people do it poorly and often not know any better, just get crushed in a transaction, but be satisfied enough to just not know how bad it was or how great it could have been. But just let me give you a quick example. Does it make sense to you, or you think your friends would understand and be interested in, like, hey, if you wait until June and there's 4 times as many people out looking at houses that time of year, that seller is going to be less negotiable. That seller's like, I had 6 showings this week.
Totally.
If you ask me for something ridiculous, I'm less likely to agree to it because somebody else will probably buy it. That's just logical, makes sense, right? Whereas if you were buying in December or January and that seller's like, man, we haven't had a showing in 2 weeks, let's do what we can to get this buyer to buy. That's just basic. Like, I'm not trying to patronize you, but like, you feel like the typical person who's not hyper focused on real estate would hear that and go, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Right.
Right. And if you're a seller, you want to take advantage of that peak buyer moment when there are more buyers. And if you're selling in what most people would call the off season, if you could create more competition and urgency and scarcity, you could outperform even the spring and summer market, whether you're in fall and winter or whatever these so-called down seasons, just because you had a plan and a strategy and people to help you and actually focus on that with a track record.
Totally.
Does that sound logical?
No, totally.
But it also sounds really, really simple.
Yes.
So the big message here is like seasonality is not that complicated. No, totally.
Yeah.
But the strategy, you have to kind of fight the urge to follow the crowd. You have to fight the reality that sadly most real estate agents are operating the same way that the masses are, the consumers are. So you need someone who could lead you and guide you. You need that, unique thought. So let me just be clear and summarize this. We are in the spring market right now, even though the calendar says February. We are in that, okay, you're a little bit late to the game of like beating seasonality, operating outside of the spring summer. But it's early enough that there's still some real opportunities. And if you find yourself in the thick of it, there's still some customized, unique strategy, but you need someone to lead you and guide you through that. Obviously, that's what we do. So, find our information near the video or the audio, click a link, jump on a schedule, visit the website, whatever. We're happy to help. But what you shouldn't do is mindlessly follow the crowd and just, fall off the cliff like a lemming. So the statistics prove it year in and year out. And we see people get hurt by it pretty significantly. The other thing we see people get hurt by, to be honest with you, is not being fully protected when they own their home. So obviously you want to, have homeowners insurance, but a home warranty is another great way to be able to protect yourself from costly repairs. And Trinity Home Advisors does a great job of this. They have a different model and they have a different financial model, meaning that they are going to honor more of those warranty claims, but they also have a different business model in that they're going to help educate you and lead you into very simple, basic maintenance, less than 90 minutes a year, so that your warranty claims are honored because you're maintaining things, basic things like filters, very simple stuff. They can also provide a service where they just do that for you. So trinityhomeadvisors.com is a great place to go to look at being fully protected, especially in the first year or two of home ownership, or if you're somebody that's don't think of yourself as like super handy. You want to check out a home warranty from trinityhomeadvisors.com. If we can help you with any of that, let us know as well. We really do enjoy using our gifts and abilities to help people navigate, whether it's the peak of the market or the valleys of the market, to customize a strategy to buy and sell and to be really, really happy with the life that home leads to. Final thoughts, closing arguments.
Nope.
No, totally.
No, totally, which apparently means yes. So there's that.
Don't be confused, guys.
Should you follow the crowd? No. Should you create a unique strategy for those peak moments in the seasonality of the market?
Totally.
No, totally, which means yes.
Yeah.
If we can help you buy, sell, or just enjoy your home in any way, you let us know. There's a link somewhere near the video and the audio to jump on a schedule, jump on the website. We are here to help.